Another day, May 1st, the second half of the first semi-final. We had 9 more acts, but we don't have 9 more winners, y'all. This is a competition. We gotta keep it real. Should we talk about it? Let's do this! Yes, today we saw 9 acts and they were Greece, Poland, Moldova, Iceland, Czech Republic, Cyprus, Armenia, Slovenia, and who?
Latvia.
Honey! These acts as a whole were much better than yesterday.
Yeah.
Better staging.
100%.
Yeah. I was captivated from start to finish, but we need to each pick our biggest loser. This is not a nice thing to do, but there must be someone who you think did not slay.
I mean, I would say Slovenia, and I imagine you're all expecting me to say Slovenia, but I think that's so obvious. I'm going to move to my second. My biggest disappointment, in a way, which actually was probably Cyprus. There were a couple of countries that didn't really meet the expectations we maybe had of them. Cyprus it's too much of a clone of Loic Notet, but not done as well. And it was just things like Hovig not being particularly comfortable with the choreography. It just didn't go right, effectively. He had a bad day at the office, and I expect, hopefully, to see something a bit tighter when we get to the second rehearsal.
It's interesting because the song is Gravity, and he was really fighting against gravity when he had to jump and land on one leg and sing at the same time while on this big stage for the first time. It's a lot to deal with at once, and I am confident he will nail the dance moves and this will look better. Personally, I don't mind the Belgium kind of similarities because it was a few years back, and I think the majority of viewers won't remember. We, of course, are Euro geeks, so we like live and breathe this, but I don't mind the similarity, and in my mind, this did improve. I'm still not convinced it will go through. I think he needs to be really on and fix all the problems that you suggest, but I think he can do it, so I remain hopeful. This was a real grower for me. It's not my biggest grower, and it's not my loser, and I hate to pick a loser, so why don't you go first?
Okay.
Because Porrick loves it.
I would have to pick my loser based on my expectations versus reality, and that would be Iceland. Because we're promised this singer that she was the first Icelandic singer to get like this mega US recording deal with EMI, that like she's really big here. Paper has been a huge hit in the charts in Iceland. I was expecting the stage to be elevated to a different level when we got here. She was there on her own. There was some nice geometric shapes going on in the background. She had a cape. She looked kind of sci-fi, intergalactic. But there was nothing really to it after that. That it was better than the national final, but it wasn't. She didn't up the ante enough for the Eurovision stage. It was just empty. She was saying that there was going to. Afterwards, she came up to our table and she said that they're going to have better camera angles and wind machines. But there's only so much you can do with a wind machine unless they're going to like blow her off the stage. I don't.
Paper's
know.
light.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Iceland would have to be my biggest loser, and I can't see them qualifying at this stage.
So I really struggled to choose a loser, and I don't like the word loser. I'm gonna say underperformer for the moment, and that's Iceland. And it's for the same reasons you say. I think she sounded great. I think I liked her dance moves. You know, she had that song in which I can't say. She's great, and she's very present, and she does own the stage. The problem is the stage is so big, it almost swallows her, and I think the camera angles that they discussed changing can make a big difference, because you want to have more of her. You want to still have the panning out from time to time, but let's see more of Svala, because a lot of the action is right here, and that I think can elevate this. At the moment, I do fear it will be eliminated, because it follows Moldova, which is wild and crazy and wow, and then it goes to Paper, which is like paper, which is flat and like white and kind of like forgettable.
Yeah.
I think it suffers from the same problem Blanche has, which is that it's not intimate enough, and it does feel like a song that does need a bit of intimacy to it. And it's weird because the Czech Republic, for example, again, soul singer on stage, that's it. But it feels big, and that's the difference. Sometimes that simplicity of just having one person can work. In Svala and in Blanche's case, it hasn't right now, but they could pull it together. Iceland is the other song I was talking about in terms of the two that kind of underperformed for me. But I have faith. I mean, we know that in 2015, Maria Olaf's kind of, she changed little bits, but it wasn't enough for Unbroken, and that went out. And again, that was a lot of people rated that quite highly in 2015. And it feels like the same might be happening in 2017 with Svala. And
just a little PS, she is so lovely. She came to our table afterwards. She is like, this is why this is so difficult to say. Yeah. She's amazing. She's a great performer, great voice, and she's also just a kind person, which is just bonus points for that. I really do hope they pull it together because I'd love to see Iceland in the final. In any case, we need to talk about our biggest growers who overperformed based on our previous expectations. Boring.
Czech Republic. I was so happy when I saw her rehearsal today because this was a song that I initially wasn't too pushed about, but it's really grown on me. It's just a sweet, nice, warm, simple song. But I was so worried that her staging would be just very bland and that she'd be completely eaten up by the enormity of the arena. But what they've done is they've managed to elevate the song so much because it's way better than it was in the studio version or the music video. And the stage, it's warm. Like the stage, it just suits the song so much that they've got the warm purples and golds, and then there's a few very like odd moments where she's standing in front of a sea of or a wall of blinking eyelids. Yeah. That's a bit odd, but it's eye-catching. Eurovision needs a few gimmicks, so they had to have that. Totally. And I don't know. I think. What do I think? Yeah, no, I just think that she has elevated to another level, and I didn't think she would be as strong a performer as she is because she was on her own, and she's not a big name in the Czech Republic, but she was on the stage as if she does it every day. Yeah. And I just found it amazing when you compare her to Svala, who we just said, who is this multi-platinum selling recording artist, and she was fine, but she wasn't able to own the stage the same way as Martina did.
3 words, you glow, girl. This was good. A warm golden hue, like a nice blanket. You just felt so cozy. It fits the style of the song, that kind of classic, jazzy, inviting. It's my turn. I wanted to give her a big hug after this, but you know, I might get electrocuted. She was in some kind of like intergalactic gold tinfoil rotisserie chicken spacesuit. But you know what? People in outer space have to eat, and so does she. It's coming from left field, right? Because when you think of classic jazz, you don't think of this, and this is why it works. That juxtaposition makes this so interesting. I did have fears in the back of my mind she could come last earlier in the season, and I've always loved the song. It has quiet power. She's not coming last. This is very memorable, and I think she could potentially push through to the final if the jury really gets behind this. I'm not sure how the public will vote. I really just don't know. But she's got the talent, and she's got a beautiful stage show. It's not my biggest grower, but I will save that, Chris.
I do think that the Czech Republic have really done a good job today. They're not my grower either, but it definitely grew on me. I still just think that maybe because I had such low expectations almost of it, that maybe that's sort of blinding me a little bit. My actual grower was Greece. If only because I enjoyed the song, but I never got it, and I found it very forgettable. And it was the first one on this morning, and I actually now still remember it quite vividly. Having heard 8 more songs and heard them about 3 times each, it still stands out to me, and that is a really good thing. Demy, very, very good on camera. The staging looks really nice. Not a huge fan still of the water ball, but I think they've even said, you know, they need to focus a few more things, get that right, and I think that is one of the things that they could improve on. But otherwise, there isn't really a huge much more they can do to improve this because they've got a really good package together.
She's kind of messed with my senses. She is my biggest grower. It's synesthesia. I can taste your voice. I can see the sound. You know what I mean? When I picture this, I hear it. I instantly hear it. It's an earworm. It's stuck in my head. This was just on point because it looks deceptively simple, you know, but it's complicated. They have a projection for 30 seconds of a waterfall going backwards, and there's an image of Demy in it. You know, at first we thought it was a corpse, but it's given us life. That ain't a corpse. It is Demy slaying. This is still in my head. I've been humming it all day, and we've heard she was the very first to go, and yet it remains the one that I remember. It's actually just very beautiful. You know, there's this complicated story about a fairy tale. She's rising to the stars. stars, her dreams, towards true love. And then you've got these two swans, well-oiled swans, I might add, in those skin-tight spray-on leggings, a mythic quality, Adonis ×2, beating on the floor. And then you've got the Amelie de Forest red, orange hues. It smacks of a winner, that type of, it does. And then the instrumental string part, which is the moment of the song, is when you suddenly have these swirling strings. You see the waterfall, and there's that lovely panning out shot. It's just memorable. And they're very humble. Her team of like, we've got a lot to work on, because I would have been like, hey, we got this. But they're not. They know that nothing is guaranteed after last year. And it's great to see. They're humble and they've got the package. So I'm feeling really positive.
And I would say that's impressive, particularly when you've got Focus Evangelos.
The stage designer.
Yeah, the stage designer of, he's so good. And the fact that they still want to hone it down even more is a really good sign.
Yeah, well, Greece was probably one of my two winners today.
Oh, well, we move on to the winners,
I just thought, this song now, I've never really rated it, and I forget what I gave it in the Weeby Jury. It could have been a 4, 5, 6, something like that. And the pop song itself is just so generic, and there's nothing to it if you're listening to it on record. But Demy is such a strong performer that she is a pop star. She is a big name, and the staging is so simple that we've said it before that other people were able to own the stage on their own. She's able to own the stage on her own, and the camera is drawn to her, your eye is drawn to her, because she's like a Greek goddess. And everything was right, even her dress, and just there was one or two issues with the vocal mix.
But I think a lot of people have struggled with that, haven't they?
That was the main thing, but I just think the staging was just brilliant.
Absolutely. That's your winner. I'll move on to one of my winners. It's Moldova, SunStroke project. Some people called this song cheap after the national selection. Well, wait till you see this. This is cheap squared. That makes it expensive. It's just so good. It translates so well. The moment it comes on, you're like, whoa, I'm in a club, but it's a real big club, and I gotta dance. They managed to mix people and visual LED very well. Some people just perform, and the LED just happens to be there. They're part of the LED in the sense that Epic Sax Guy is replicated. The dancers on the screen dance with the three singers plus their backing vocalist, so it's a massive dance party. They turned the stage into Kiev's biggest discotheque, and everyone in the press room wanted to go and get down on it. They've ditched the cheap wedding dresses, and now they have club clothes, moving from the church to the club like we do every Sunday. I just think it's actually very tasteful. Ultimately, it's tasteful. It's trashy done in a tasteful way to make it more accessible to the mainstream. Easy to remember dance moves, gimmick with the Epic Sax Guy, but a gimmick done well. I have nothing but praise for them.
Yeah, definitely. I think Moldova are one of my two winners from today. Pretty much exactly what you said. It was just enjoyable and good enjoyable, not in a car crash kind of way. It just made the mood lighten in general, and that is what you need, and it's definitely going to qualify. I think they have really they've shaken things up a little bit, I think, in this semi-final, because before there may have just been a maybe, but yeah, genuinely good job.
They've brought back that special Moldovan spark that's been missing for the last few years, because up until maybe 2013 Moldova always had a gimmick and it looked expensive. Whereas then 2013, Christina Scarlett with her cheap extension.
2014,
yes.
2013 was only,
and that was great.
And then there was, of course, the local Edward Remuta with his strippers. and last year then Lydia was perfectly fine, but she only had one spaceman. The past 3 years it's been cheap, but this year it's expensive, it's slick. Everything is well practiced, it's well choreographed. There was none of this messing around like we saw with Hovey, where he was nearly losing his balance. The three singers were perfectly in time, they knew all their steps. The one hitch was at the very first run through where the girls' Velcro didn't work when they were pulling off their skirts, but that was tiny.
And then they fixed it.
Yeah, Moldova are back in the game.
What's interesting is it looks expensive, but it's really just them dancing, because they're bringing all the kind of
charisma and energy.
Everything you love, and that's very unique. In any case, I'm gonna kick this off with, I named my other winner, didn't I?
No, you didn't. I think we all have the same.
Oh,
you named Moldova as your.
Yes, that's right. So
Chris named his.
Yeah, Moldova. So we all have the same number one.
So my winner, and I think it may be your winner, come fly with me, come fly. It is Artsvik from Armenia by a country mile. This is... I'm still thinking about the visuals. In a way, it's a bit of a mind F-U-C-K. You're like, what? But I don't care. I'm loving it. It almost feels Hindu in inspiration with all the arm movements, the attention to detail. They're wearing black nail polish because there's this close-up shot where there are all these hands around her face. They've just thought about everything from the lighting. The pink looks beautiful. She looks great against it. You know, her hand choreography, her dancer's hand choreography. Just two dancers, but they make a massive impact. Tribal, Hindu, Armenian, ethnic, and yet experimental and modern. The climax of this, the very end, because most songs don't climax at the end. She throws her arms out, whoosh, and a bird is released. It is beautiful. That bird soars to the heavens. That is Artsvik. She transforms into this bird.
LED bird. We should try it out. You don't need to worry. Like they haven't nicked Norma John's blackbird.
No animals on stage. This is Sasha Jean-Baptiste at her best. This is Armenia at its best. I dare to say this is as good as Love Wave, if not better. In fact, I think visually, I prefer this to Love Wave.
Definitely. There was like Armenia, everyone else. There's just no comparison to today. And it just tells you how high the standard was, because we're saying that today was so much stronger than yesterday. But Armenia were just so much better, because I'm nearly lost for words. There was this tribalism, then she had Bollywood influences, there was like modern pop, and yet you know by looking at it, you're like, that's Armenia. Armenia are able to put their own stamp on things. Armenia know how the Eurovision game works. Yeah, I don't know, people were skeptical as to how Artsvik would be on stage, that, oh, she was too wooden or whatever. That was ridiculous, it turned out in the end. Yeah, Artsvik is a star.
There's not a wasted moment in this. Every second of the 3 minutes, there is something to watch and admire.
I think I said it in our Armenia review, she's cool. That's the main thing. You get this impression that she's like this amazing singer, like this almost pop legend who suddenly appeared. I think it's weird because, you know, you get sometimes songs that try to do a lot with staging or try to take a lot of inspiration, and it doesn't always work. I mean, possibly controversial, Azerbaijan, for example, have thrown a lot at skeletons, and it didn't necessarily all pull off straight away. I mean, I still really like that performance, but Armenia, on the other hand, have taken it all, and it's worked first time. And they've added and added more as it went on. They added the pyro, they added a bit of smoke, they added this, they added that. And the key to it all is Artsvik. She keeps it under control, and she makes it work, and she slays everybody right now. I can't see anything else winning the semi-final right now, if I'm honest.
I would dare to say in the final, this could go top 5, top 3. You know, and if the others have a bad day and stuff goes wrong, who knows? Maybe she could... I don't want to jinx anyone. I just love this. I think this is classy, funky, experimental, and strangely fun, because you're gripped the whole time. When that Hindu or whatever symbol in the background, like Buddha meditating, I don't know who it is, I'm like, yes, Buddha, namaste, Ale to this, y'all. It's real good.
Yeah.
Well, in any case, that is what we think. What do you think? Are you ready to fly with Armenia? Wait a minute, y'all. Should we give a shout out to those we didn't mention? Poland, a big grower.
Oh yeah,
quality.
Poland was good. Like, don't get me wrong, Poland was genuinely good. You know, I think that the final run through was the best. I think it was just because there were a couple of issues early on. It didn't reach the heights of some of the others, but definitely a good performance.
It's not in my top 10, but the diaspora vote is going to push it, because it is a strong enough entry that it will pick up points outside of the diaspora. The staging surprised me in that it wasn't as bad as I expected. The song still leaves me cold.
I definitely put this in the top 10 in the semi. I think she sounded great, she looked great, great staging, she lifted. Well done, Poland. Latvia!
Oh, actually, probably Latvia is my number 2 now that I think about it. Yeah, it was really good. Loved it, loved the neon, loved the motion capture background. They have a penis on one of the...
Yeah, that needs to go, doesn't it?
That probably needs to go, but they do have a neon penis on stage, apparently. But no, I thought Agnesa was really good. The backing vocals worked well with her. They covered some of the places where she maybe has had issues before. And yeah, just genuinely a very, very good entry. Definite qualifier, great show closer.
Going into the voting segment, you can't forget this.
No.
It's so loud and wow in a good way, in your face, authentic to them. You know, skateboard chic, love it.
Yeah, it's a great closer, like it keeps the party going. And it's unforgettable. And those images are the kind of stuff that like are ingrained on your mind, like nearly on your eyelids, so to speak. It's like a nightmarish style situation, but in a good way.
And the other act we haven't mentioned is Slovenia. This has improved since EMA. I think the staging actually looks very classy, very nice. His expressions can be a little awkward and creepy. The song is still not so amazing. I don't think this is going through, but I think he's improved significantly, so well done, Slovenia. You don't have to be embarrassed by this, because I think the staging really makes it classy and gives it the Broadway feel while still making it a little more poppy.
No comment.
I would be shocked if this doesn't come 18th in the semi.
Well, that's what we think. What do you think? Who are your favorites from today? Who do you think will win this semi? And where do you think the winner of this semi will end up in the final? Let us know here on wiwibloggs.
Please like and share and comment with this video.
And make sure you subscribed.
Love, love, love. Peace, peace. Available on wiwibloggs.com. See you later. Bye.